Hi, my name is Holly Howe, and I'd like to thank you for considering me for the nominations committee. You've asked that I answer a few questions, so I'm going to read them out to you and then I'll tell you what I think about them. Number one, are you willing to give time, energy, and make the commitment required of this position for 3 years? Well, I wouldn't have filled out that paperwork, I wouldn't have do this video if I wasn't committed. So there's that, but above and beyond that, I have a unique perspective in that my husband served on this committee for 2 terms, and I know firsthand exactly how much time, effort, and commitment that it took, and I'm more than happy to make that commitment. I do think it's interesting though that the nominations committee, if you really think about it, is one of the most powerful committees through PPA because they are responsible for choosing the future leaders and the future, which in turn affects the future direction of our association. But yet, really, it doesn't take a whole lot of time compared to some of the other committees that you could serve on. So I would look forward to being a part of that. 2, where do you feel PPA excels and could use additional support as an organization? Well, the excels part, that's really super easy because there's so many things. Education, copyright, the insurances, forms that are available to us. I could go on and on and on, but all of you know all of those benefits. What I think really makes PPA excel and makes it relevant in today's world where so many associations are failing is that there seems to be a very firm grasp of the most good for the most members. It seems like every decision is based on the most good for the most members. And when you're doing that, you can't help but excel. If I had to say where I think they could do a better job, I would say it would be, there seems to be, no matter what decision you make or what policy, there's always going to be kickback from somebody. There's always going to be some percentage of the membership that's upset or thinks it's the wrong decision or attributes unsavory motivations or whatever to whatever is happening. And perhaps if there was more background information made available, more justification for why the particular changes were made, perhaps that would help. I also see a lot of times I hear money grab, money grab, money grab, and particularly in relationship to print competition or MIR. And I know for a fact that print competition for MIR is not a money-making program for PPA. So perhaps if some of those financials were made public, it would show people that it's not a money grab. However, given those things that I said, I can also see where putting some of that information about reasons for choices or the finances or whatever, or having some of that public could also maybe lead to more objections, more complaints, whatever. So I'm kind of not sure that that's the best thing, but it's interesting to me to think about that. Lastly, number 3, do you believe yourself to possess an ability to have an objective assessment of an individual? Please explain. Well, I have a very firm grasp on the idea that there are always 2 sides to every story, 2 sides to every person, 2 sides to every program, 2 sides to every decision. There's always another side to look at. And I make it a policy in my life to not form a final opinion until I see the whole picture or I learn the whole picture. So I think that that would put me in good stead to evaluate a person, looking at all sides of their personality, looking at all sides of their background. I also seem to have a really good grasp on reading people. I seem to intuit what motivates someone, even if I'm not told. I can understand why they're doing something that they say. So I think that would give me, I would understand why someone wanted to be on the board of directors and if they do have an agenda or not. Speaking of agenda, that's not something that I have. I don't have an agenda other than the most good for the most members. Lastly, I would say what makes me really qualified is I have been around in a long time. I do have a lot of experience. I have seen both the good and the bad, but I also have a very firm grasp on the need for progress, on the need for evolution, on the need for PPA to keep evolving in the future to stay relevant. And I have a good grasp on the idea that we need people that maybe have new ideas that are thinking in the future, thinking what's things going to be like 5-10 years down the road rather than just right at this moment. So even though looking at me, I should be the old fuddy-duddy that's sitting here saying, well, this is the way it was when I was coming up or whatever, that's not the way I think. I think what's going to be the most good for the most members 10 years down the road. Maybe I don't like it, maybe I don't like the changes, but I can understand where that's where we need to go. And I can accept that and support it. So I do think I could do a good job. I thank you for your consideration.